Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Joseph. Today we're talking about New World Beta and my first impressions of it and what I thought, whether it was good, bad, worth your time, not worth your time, because there's been a lot of controversy around this game with the microtransactions. But before we get into the impression itself, at the end of the video, I will be giving you information for giving away 2 beta keys to random viewers of this channel, whether you're subscribed or not subscribed. And I'll give you all the details how you can do that and secure yourself potentially a key. And I see it being a realistic thing for a lot of you guys because I'm a small channel, so I just want to kind of give back to the community who's enjoying these kinds of games and wants to try it out themselves, didn't have a chance to sign up for it or pre-order the game themselves. So it's gonna be interesting. Just stick around to the end to find out, but no more of that. Let's get into the impression itself. And I gotta say, overall, I have very positive vibes from what I'm playing here. Granted, I am not the biggest MMO player myself. My biggest experience with an MMO is ESO because it's a very easy to pick up and very open to noobs and somebody who's not really into like a crazy amount of systems. And that's what I really liked about ESO, and actually the same reasons why I like New World, which could be a turnoff for some people, or it could be the very reason why you want to play something like this because it'll be easier to get into. So let's start with the things I liked. I think the combat is fun. The fact that we're talking about it's a skill-based combat where you have to dodge, you have to block, you have to time your attacks. It's heavy attacks. It's very action-oriented, almost like Dragon's Dogma. It feels very much like that, but in a open MMO style, which I think is absolutely fun. Because one thing that always turned me off about MMOs, it's very traditional, almost like Knights of the Old Republic KOTOR, where you stand in one place and just kind of do your spells. You don't really have to worry about dodging. You don't really have to. There's no action elements, and I personally like the action elements of ESO and both of this game as well. And the fact that they give you the chance to respec anytime. You're never locked into your choices. I think that's an awesome way for you to experiment with the character you're playing with. In case you want to change up the style, change up the weapon, you think something's not working, you don't have to restart a whole character. I really appreciate them respecting people's time. You know, as an adult, especially if you have kids in your family, if you have a significant other that you're with somebody, you have other responsibilities. You don't have time to restart 10, 15, 20 hours of gameplay because you made some wrong choices along the way, and you only realize them by the time you get to the dungeons or something like that. So it's nice to have this option to respect and change around and give you a chance to play around with different things. Not to mention, I like the whole weapon mastery system. The more you use this particular weapon, the better you get at it, and that's how you open up different abilities for that particular weapon. I really like that because if I like something, I'm going to play with it. It gives me, again, a chance to experiment. Not to mention, when you go into attributes, there's a lot of different weapons under each of the attributes, so you're free to kind of switch around to play around with different weapons. You're never even locked in. A lot of MMOs, like, hey, if you're a sword and shield, you're kind of locked into sword or shield. You have to stick to that if you really want to maximize it and really do a significant amount of damage. Here, it's not the case. It's more of like an action RPG or even a looter shooter or a looter slasher game where you have a chance to kind of switch around a little bit more. I also really liked the visuals. I thought graphically it's not going to be wowing anybody. I think maybe in some ways Final Fantasy 14, I just started playing that, even that has a slightly maybe better graphics in certain elements, or even ESO is a great looking MMO, but it has a really good art. I think that's where it really wins over. It has this kind of a new world, which is the game called, a new world, you know, coming to America, this kind of pilgrim vibe to it that I really like. The Eastern European, it really just has a nice visual style, and the feeling of like pirates and knights and everything like that. I really like it. That's what also captured me visually from the standpoint when I first saw the trailer, the CG trailer we got a couple of years back. And I do have to say, despite, you know, there's some issues which I'll get into in the things I didn't like, it performs admirably, because I remember when we first read some of the previews, it was actually struggling, and it looks like it's doing much better, which means probably by August, the final release, it's actually going to be playing really well. And I think the simplicity of this game, the systems are not overly complex, is the main draw for me personally. It makes it less overwhelming for somebody who's not into MMOs to get into this MMO and have fun with it and draw parallels from other looter shooters and action RPGs without being overwhelmed by 25 different systems in something like Phantasy Star Online or even Final Fantasy XIV, which is, again, the draw for the more hardcore crowd there. But the things I didn't like right now is, And I think that's true of any MMO in the beginning. It's overpopulated. Oh my god, each quest line has it seemed like dozens of people. So you're trying to fight the boss, and there was one of the first bosses you had to fight. I didn't get a chance to even kill him and get a hit on him because so many people would jump on him and kill him, so I wouldn't be able to complete the quest. So it's kind of it takes away from some of the immersion with how many people just jump on each one. And the queue times are not exactly fun. I actually tried to play again yesterday, and the queue took over like 30 or 40 minutes. I just kind of gave up and started a Final Fantasy 14 playthrough just to see what the game was like. I just kind of gave up on it. And there's also, obviously, being the beta version, this crashes. I had to actually restart my PC quite a few times, and there's lag, which obviously affects combat, where your attacks are slightly delayed. Enemies would appear out of nowhere, or they would hit you when you think they wouldn't hit you. It's not a huge issue. I think it's something that's going to be ironed out as it comes closer to release and maybe post-release, but it's something to keep in mind, as I want to be honest about what I experienced in this game. And I thought sound design is pretty poor in this game. The sound effects when you hit somebody almost have no impact behind them. Again, I'll draw a parallel to something like Final Fantasy or ESO, which has actually quite good sound effects, especially for a larger world like that. So it's kind of noticeable that they're a little bit subpar. And it doesn't seem obviously yet fully optimized in the graphics department, where on a 2080 Super, I am having a little bit of trouble running it on high beyond 60 frames. It sometimes actually feels like it kind of drops up and down. It doesn't have a smooth experience. It says it's in 100 of frames the whole time through, and doesn't really drop, but you can clearly tell it's not a smooth experience yet. It needs to be ironed out. It needs to be improved. And right now, as of now, it's not bothering me too much, but it is there. Quests are also very, very generic, very kind of standard MMO fare, what you're used to. Go kill this, go gather this, and make that. They're not interwoven into story interestingly enough where you would really care, so you kind of more play for the gameplay, and luckily the gameplay is really fun, so you don't really mind doing that. For example, ESO, I think, for the exception of Final Fantasy 14, from what I understand, again, I'm not a huge fan of MMOs, but I understand ESO and Final Fantasy 14 has some of the best stories in MMOs, and coming from those two games that are the only ones ever played with a story, coming to this, I see the weaknesses that it's going to have there. So obviously it's going to depend how interesting the dungeons are going to be, how interesting the different quests later on are going to evolve, and the things you have to fight, and the bosses you have to see, the gear you're going to gather, with a very much again, a looter shooter inspired system where you get kind of gear score for your items, so you know what's going on. And it also, what I didn't like is it takes really long to gather resources in the beginning, especially if you're killing like a boar or you're chopping a tree down. I know you have to level it up and get better at it, but I can't help but think that one of the things they're going to introduce in the microtransactions is going to be this idea of like, oh, speed up your gathering skills or thing, like, you know, speed up this, so speed up this process to make it faster. And that'll be quite annoying, but I can't help but kind of predict that's going to be the case. I know, like, for example, ESO gives you one free mount, but if you want the really fast mounts from the beginning, you have to buy a good one. That's just kind of the general business practices of these guys. But again, it's not something I enjoyed. Overall, I am really hopeful for it. From the beginning, right now, the couple hours that I played, I'm going to play more over the weekend, maybe give you an updated kind of impression. But right now, I think it's really fun. But what I want to do, and step extra, I want to give back to some of you guys watching this channel, is that I want to give you a beta key to try out this game yourself. I actually gave a couple to my friends, and I had 2 left over, so I thought, why not give it to some of the fans of this channel? So just down below, make sure to write down, give me a hashtag of New World, and leave down below in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I will pick somebody randomly at the end of the week to be able to qualify to be one of the people to receive the beta key, so you can try it out yourself until August 2nd. I'm purposely giving out both this week because I know it's going to be only going until August 2nd, so it'll give you an ample amount of time to really check it out and have fun with it. I would also like to see your thoughts on it when you get to actually play it yourself, or if you already played it yourself. I would love to hear from you guys. If you agree with me, disagree with me, is there anything that I missed in this overall? Let me know down below. And guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I'll be looking forward to your comments so that I have one of you guys actually get a chance to try it out. Guys, peace out Enjoy the rest of your day.